Hi, in this video, it's critique time and we look at the photos of another young photographer. Hi, I'm Adam and welcome to First Man Photography, the channel that will help you take your photography to the next level. If you haven't done so yet, head over to firstmanphotography.com, fill in your details to join the email list, and I'll send you a free copy of the ebook on how to capture perfect exposure every time. Okay, let's get into this. I've been contacted by Sidney, who is a digital art and entertainment student over in Belgium. He's another young photographer, and I've been really encouraged by the number of young people that have been contacting me asking for these critiques. Some people at the moment are saying photography is dying, it's a dying art because everybody's doing it. To me, that is absolute nonsense. It really, really isn't. I'm so encouraged by the number of young people that are following me, that are asking for critiques, and just work of young people that I'm seeing out there, which is of a really, really high quality from a young age. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the progression they're going to go through and some of the images they're going to be capturing as they build up more and more experience. I am excited by that. I hope you are too. So let's get into the computer, have a look at Sidney's images, and we'll see if we can give him a few tips and pointers to help him along the way. Okay, so we go straight over into Flickr and to our first images, and as always, we'll just take a quick look at the camera that Sidney's using. And in this case, it is a Pentax K50, which is, I believe, a Pentax DSLR. And this is our first image, so Home Sweet Home, which I'm assuming is Belgium in this case. And that is a pretty nice image, isn't it? It's a nice landscape shot over some water, and it looks like a slightly long exposure, and it is 1/8 of a second, which is relatively long in the scheme of things. It's well composed. I think they got some really nice detail in that clouds and the sun setting over there in the distance. As a whole, I really like this image. The only thing I would pick up on is you've just got to be careful of where your shadows are in landscape images, and particularly sunset images like this, because we've got a lot of shadow here and really along this left-hand side of the image, which for me isn't really adding anything to it. It's all very dark. It's not a lot of detail in there, and there's not a lot to see, and it just detracts from sort of this area of the image around here where you've got all that detail and colour and everything else. So square crop might work on this one. That was my original thought as soon as I saw that. But nice shot anyway. I do like it. I'd just be a little bit careful about your processing. I don't think it's the camera, but this really looks heavily processed on my screen at least. I don't know if it's the quality of the image that's been uploaded or what, but it looks over-processed really on the noise reduction. I don't know if you've had a lot of noise in this because you've had to rescue it quite a lot, but it just looks very soft in a lot of areas of the image that you wouldn't really expect to see normally. That might be from too much luminance noise reduction. So just something to be careful of, something to think about. I may be wrong, let me know if I am, but that's my thoughts on that one. On to the next one, and we have what looks like a couple of Coca-Cola bottles, and I quite like this image. Just be careful of what's in the bouquet in the background. You've got this here, which looks almost like it's sticking out of the bottle, which is clearly not, because these straws are. And that's quite a nice little shot for a bar or something like that, but it highlights those bottles nicely. I like the colour, I quite like the lighting, and I like the way you've got them set up with one of them in focus, one of them in the background blur. It looks nice. The only thing I would say to improve that is, firstly, like I said, is the background here. Straighten it up a little bit as well, so because the bottles look like they're tilting over to the right at the moment as we're looking at it, which sort of is a little bit distracting. And just be careful how close you're getting your main subject to the edge of the frame. You've got the bottom of the bottle very close to the bottom of the frame here. Just edge up the whole subject a little bit, so you're moving your camera down to get more of that bottle in the shot, and you're not losing a bit off the bottom of the frame as it appears there. Minor things though that can really take a shot like this to the next level. On to the next one. And we have an old BMW. I'm quite a fan of shots like this, actually, especially when it's part of a bigger photo story. So where has Sidney seen this image? What's he on this day out? Is he shooting other things? It's a nice detailed shot to a wider photo story. But on its own, it's quite a nice shot. I like the detail in all things like this that are rusting, and you see the flicking paint. It looks good, and I like it. Again, just be careful of how you're framing your image. There's all this rusty area down this side of the image that really isn't adding a lot for me. All the details in these grills here and this wheel arch of the car. I'd also risk on this one adding more contrast, because I like the colour, I like the sort of light that you're using and the bit of flare that's going on, but I'd just up the contrast a little bit to really bring out those dark black areas where you can see into the engine, really bring out the blacks there, and I think you'll have a better image. Again, minor little details, minor little improvements that can really improve an image. On to the next one, and we have Boosty the kitten, which maybe that's Sidney's kitten, does he say? No, he doesn't. But that, again, not a bad shot. He's got the eye just about in focus, I think. Maybe a little out of focus. I think we've maybe got focus around the ear here a little bit. Make sure with animals and people and anything that has an eye that you get the eye in focus, because it will, again, that's where you sort of naturally look into something's eyes, and that's the case with this picture. It's nicely composed though. I don't mind actually that we're on a bit of an angle here. Is that a tree maybe, or some sort of bark? The fact that that's on an angle, I'm quite happy with that, because it's a nice portrait of the cat. Well composed. Again, just be careful how close to the edge of the frame you get in. Don't be afraid to move back a bit or zoom out a bit, so the limbs and things like that on people and animals and bottles even in the last one are not getting so close to the edge of the frame, because it's slightly off-putting sometimes and it just looks a bit squashed or overcropped or zoomed in or something. So another one to think about: focus, framing. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, Magical Forest. Yeah, you've got some nice light going in there. There's quite a few bits and pieces going on. I'm not really sure where I'm supposed to look with this one though, although I kind of see what you're going for. It is quite magical with that light and those trees that are sort of lots of branches intertwining. So a nice little wooded scene. There's not a great deal to that one for me though. Not my favourite image. Let's just move on to the next one. Now another wooded scene, but this is much better. Much, much better. There's a lot more going on. These rays of light coming through the trees. That low aspect, which I like. You can see the sort of leaves on the floor of the wood there. I really enjoy this one. You can just see the sun poking through the trees there as well. A nice shot overall. I like the colours. I like the light. Again, you've brought those shadows up a little too much, so I think we're looking a little bit soft here. It looks like you've used a lot of noise reduction. Again, I don't know if it's just that camera. I'm not particularly familiar with it and what qualities it has, but it just looks a little bit soft in this area, which is slightly off-putting. Again, just be careful of what you're doing with your shadows. Try bracketing if you want to get some more detail in the shadow areas, because I like the composition as it is, but I'd just like to see a little bit more detail in the shadows. It looks like you've tried to rescue that, and in doing so, we've lost a little bit of sharpness. But overall, nice. Again, little things to think about that's going to really improve these images. Let's move on to the next one. Shrooms. So we've got some mushrooms. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but I really like these mushroom type shots. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my love of macro, just the shape that's going on. I'm a big fan of mushroom shots. I don't know why, I just am. And this one is a good one. I really like it. You've got this little cluster of mushrooms here, which are have some nice light on them. And then you've got these sort of purple streaks all the way through. I don't know what that is. Is it just the colour of the vegetation with that light combination? I am enjoying that picture. I really am. I haven't got a lot to say to it. I just like it. I'm not sure. I don't think you could really improve that so much. I think you've done well with what you've got there. Nice job. Let's move on. Okay, praise Stalker. Yeah, that's good little good storytelling with your photograph there. You've got the mouse or the hamster or whatever that is with the cat investigating it. Is he going to eat it? Is he just going to play with it? Who knows? Are they friends? Are they both pets and they're used to being together? We don't know, but it's an interesting story and I want to know more about what's going to happen. I like the composition of the shot as well. In this one, I'm quite happy that you've cut the eyes off the cat there, because you've got these whiskers looking down over that rodent, and I really like that. The one criticism or the one thing that I'm picking up on is there's not a lot of detail in it. It looks very, very cropped here to me, because you can start to see artifacts appearing. When I zoom in on it, it doesn't zoom in at all. Look at this area here. It looks like there's been a lot of noise reduction used maybe, but you're losing a lot of detail, and that's because it's cropped. But sometimes that's what's required to get the composition you want. If you're sharing it online, that's not going to be a problem. And as a whole, I like the shot. Good storytelling, and that is absolutely key with everything you do. Let's move on to the next one, and it's another cat shot. Not a lot going on in this one, but it is a nice shot. There's lots of nice contrast in this one. Beautiful light, looks like a window light over to the left-hand side of the shot, lighting up that cat, and that is nicely captured. Again, though, just the one thing is just being careful of where the edge of your frame is. Losing that little bit of tiny, even though it's very small, losing that tiny bit of paw off the edge of that frame is off-putting a little bit. So just zoom out, move back a little bit. You'll get a bit more extra frame in around the ear here. You won't lose any of the paw off the edge of the frame there, and it will be a much better rounded image. Nice, like it. Anyway, let's move on to the next one, and we have Sweden sunset. So this is a great shot. Really like this one. There's a lot going on, some nice colour. You've obviously added a little bit of purple because the water doesn't go that colour naturally, but for me, I don't mind that. I like it. You've added a little bit of tint in the white balance, I'm guessing. It's nicely composed. You've got this grass line leading you into the scene, and that bridge, the sun and the birds and that sky just make it a really, really nice shot, particularly the birds, because you don't normally see birds like this in such big numbers in such a beautiful sunset shot. If there was going to be one thing that I pick up on again, it is this shadow area right down in the foreground. That is in total darkness. You can't see any detail in that shadow. So I would just adjust my composition. If I was taking this shot, I would just adjust it very slightly, still using this shape of the bank to lead you into the shot, but just crop it a little bit into this kind of composition. So just cutting out all of that dead area outside of that frame, and the shots would end up looking a bit like this. I think it's a better composition, but overall anyway, it's a good shot. Just be careful of what's happening in those shadow areas of your compositions. But great shot anyway, nicely captured. You've made the most of capturing that moment with the birds, and that is good work. That's the last image, I think. So let's go back and have a look at the album as a whole. And I think, Sidney, you're doing some great work there. All the things that I'm talking about that you can improve are during the critique here are very, very minor. It's not, you haven't got any major problems really. It's just tiny little things that I'll add up and add up and add up to just being much, and then you'll find you can just become better at it. You're getting capturing much better images just with tiny little improvements all the time. There are no major changes. I'm liking your work. Again, yeah, I say it a lot now, but you're definitely on the right track, and I'm enjoying your work. I'm going to go ahead and give Sidney a follow. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that and that nice little look at Sidney's work. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. Constructive criticism only, please. And also send Sidney a bit of love on the comments in his Instagram feed or Flickr feed or Facebook, and all the links I put down in the description for you to find Sidney. Also, please do subscribe to this YouTube channel for videos every Wednesday and every Sunday. There's tips, tricks, tutorials and reviews, and a lot of people have been enjoying my vlog. I'll see you on another video very soon. I'm Adam. This is First Man Photography out.